This is a juniper. I purchased it at a Bonsai Northwest auction in 2007. It was previously a Quentin Valentine tree. I don't know how long he'd had it prior to my purchase. Quentin said he was getting rid of it because it was a prickly bloody thing. And if I'd known just how prickly it was, I possibly wouldn't have bought it. Quentin had done most of the Shea and the gins prior to my purchase, but since I've had it, a couple of branches have died off and I've ginned them as well. It was a much more compact tree when I first purchased it, but for a few years I was doing part-time study and my trees were badly neglected. This one in particular got quite out of control. In 2017 I took it to a Bonsai Northwest workshop with Joe Morgan-Paler where we did quite a bit of work on it. I'm happy with the results from that workshop. I'm happy with how it's progressing and I hope to have it in my collection for quite a while yet.
Here is a large Trata Maple, just holding on to its colour. My Trata Maples and most of my deciduous are in full sun, full conditions, not protected at all. It just sits along the fence line, and as you can see it's getting full sun. Nice beautiful colours. This side gets more sun, you can see that, how it turns more red. Working my way up the tree, see nice and red on that side. This side gets a little bit less sun, and you can see the difference in colour. So I guess this tree was pretty much a stump maybe 15 years ago or so, and I've grown it since then. But the point of this lesson is I always prefer to keep my trees in full sun, full elements, so that in autumn you can get this colour, you get the frosts at night and you get the sun during the day, and this is what happens and changes beautiful colours.
This is a Chinese juniper. I've had it for about 15 years. It was a gift from my wife when I was early into bonsai. I didn't have much of an idea what to do. I managed to almost kill it a couple of times. I didn't think much of the taper. It was a bit too stylised as well. And it also had a very flat canopy which I wasn't happy with, but didn't know what to do. And about 6 to 12 months ago I decided I just broke off the canopy, broke off the top, leaving what you see now, and I was much happier with it. There's a bit of a windswept or a tough life appearance. The pot I'm not so sure about. It looks a little bit like a training pot, but it seems to suit. Until something better comes along, I think I'll keep it in this. This is a Kunzia peduncularis, a native tick bush. It was a Yamadori dug from a property near Seymour in Victoria about 4 or 5 years ago. I kept as much soil on it as possible at the time of the dig, and all the soil was removed after about 2 years, and I repotted it. We repotted it again last September, reduced some of the larger roots. It didn't like that root work very much though, and it really sulked and almost died. The second one, just like it, did die. The pot I think could be a little shallower, so if I can find one and the roots will allow it, I might try and repot it into a shallower pot next time. This is a Portulacaria afra, elephant bush. It was a patio plant of my in-laws for a number of years, so I don't know how old this is. It was put in a bonsai pot in about 2012, and I like the base of it. It has a bit of a gooseneck, which I'm not that thrilled about, but I'm hoping they can be disguised with a bit more foliage around it. This is the Port Jackson fig. I got it in about 2012 from a friend. It was about 3 times as high, so I cut the trunk down and allowed the branches to pop out. I have reduced the leaves, done a leaf reduction. Not a huge amount of difference. It keeps pretty good leaves anyway. And it's been in the same pot ever since I bonsaied it. I don't mind that pot. This is a flowering plum. It was dug from a garden. It was a sucker from a larger tree, and it has pink flowers in late winter. I've defoliated it last spring, and that encouraged much thicker leaf coverage. There was lots of back budding and filling in of pads, and I'll repeat that this coming year. I did repot it last year, and without leaves it looked okay, but now that it's grown a bit, it looks like the pot is actually a bit small, so I'll be looking for another slightly larger pot of about the same colour. This is a Chinese elm I've had since 2015. It was given to me by a friend, and I cut it back to the current height. I kept it with the exposed trunk because of the line and the bark. So I guess I tried a literati. I don't know how that suits a deciduous tree, but I thought it seemed to be most appropriate for the trunk. This is a Shea Oak, an aloe casuarina, grown from seed and potted in January of 2018. The seed was obtained from the Mornington Peninsula area. It can be difficult to repot because the bark around the base is so soft that every time you handle it, you damage the bark. So it has to be done quite carefully. This is a coastal tea tree forest, Leptospermum levigatum. It's what happens when you've got too many seedlings, you make a forest. I'm waiting for the tree in the centre to thicken up and be a bit more dominant. And I think the trunks either have to get thicker or I have to get a shallower pot, because that one, although I like the texture of it, I don't think it's shallow enough for this forest.
Hi, it's Brian Clinton here again. This is the last of the white pines that I was going to put into our show. This one has an unusual history that it actually came from Sydney in the 1980s from someone by the name of David Jones, but I got this from Lee Tafe, which was in his collection for many years. It is a beautifully barked up tree. It is very old, and it's a very interesting tree with the Nabari blends in very nicely into the white pine. So I'll just turn that around for you to have a look. So that is a brief history of this pine. Just thought I'd show you the bark on this particular white pine. It's got an unusual feature at the shari at the back. It comes to into a very unusual shape there, but it is a lovely tree, and as you can see by the bark, that's blended beautifully into the white pine. I thought you'd have a look at that anyway.